Case 1. The lake that turns animals to stone. You are looking at a photograph, and your brain refuses to process it. A flamingo, perfectly preserved, wings half open, neck arched back like it tried to escape at the last second. Not sleeping, not resting, fleeing. It is a statue now, and it is not alone. Dozens more along the shoreline. Bats, small birds, all frozen in the exact position they held when the water took them. Lake natron, pH of 10.5. The sodium carbonate mineralized soft tissue, hardens feathers, locks the body into whatever shape it held at the moment of death. The animals did not drown. They were embalmed alive, mid-flight, as if time stopped working for them and only them. Scientists understand the chemistry. The explanation is clean, reproducible and completely documented. It does not make the photographs any easier to look at. The lake is not haunted. It is worse than that. It is real. Would you go near it? Case 2. The hum no one can stop hearing. You move to a quiet town to escape the noise. 3 weeks later, you cannot sleep. There's a sound, low, constant, coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. You turn off every appliance in the house. Silence. But the hum is still there, underneath the silence, as if the silence itself is vibrating. You drive 40 miles out of town. Still there. 2% of Taos residents hear it. The other 98 hear nothing at all. Scientists have tested the air, the ground, the water pipes, the power lines. Equipment sensitive enough to detect a whisper through a concrete wall. Nothing. The most unsettling detail, some people only begin hearing it after they are told about it, as if awareness is its own kind of infection. Once it starts, it does not stop. What would you do if a sound moved into your head and never left? Case 3. The fire that will not go out. In the middle of a desert with no roads, no towns and no witnesses, the earth is on fire. A crater 70 meters wide, 30 meters deep, burning continuously since 1971. Locals call it the door to hell. At night the glow is visible for miles. You stand at the edge and the heat reaches you before you can see the bottom. Soviet engineers drilled it into a natural gas pocket. The ground collapsed. They made a decision. Ignite it. Let it burn itself out in a few days. That was over 50 years ago. In 2022, the president of Turkmenistan officially ordered it extinguished. It is still burning. There are things humans set in motion that do not stop when we ask them to. A mistake made in 1971 is burning right now. Tonight, as you watch this, does that change anything? Case 4. The Icy Finger of Death. Antarctica. The BBC filmed it once. Most people watched it twice because they did not believe what they saw the first time. A brinicle, a column of ice forming underwater, descending slowly from the frozen surface toward the ocean floor. It moves almost gently, in absolute silence. Everything it touches dies instantly. When it reaches the seafloor, it spreads outward in a thin sheet, encasing sea urchins and starfish exactly where they stand. They do not flee. There is no warning. One moment they exist. The next, they are sealed inside ice that will not melt for weeks. Nature does not need malice, it only needs physics. Frozen solid in seconds, on the ocean floor, in total darkness. Does it matter that nothing intended it? Case 5. The stones that walk. You are standing in a dry lake bed, flat, cracked, empty for miles in every direction. Behind you is a boulder. In front of you is the trail it left, hundreds of feet long, carved into hardened mud with calm, deliberate precision. The boulder weighed 700 pounds. No one is here. No one has been here for weeks. For decades, geologists camped nearby for months and never caught the stones moving. The trails were real. The movement was undeniable. The answer came in 2014 and required 3 things happening simultaneously. Rain freezing overnight into a thin sheet, morning sun breaking the sheet into floating panels, and wind pushing those panels, and the rocks locked inside them across frictionless mud. The windows last only hours. It may happen once a decade. That is why no one ever saw it happen. The stones move. They have always moved. They were waiting for the right conditions. For 100 years, this had no explanation. What else are we walking past every day? What really gets me is realizing the earth was doing all of this long before humans existed. And it will probably keep doing it long after we're gone. We like to think we understand the world, but videos like this remind you how small we actually are. Case 6. The storm that never ends. There's a place on Earth where lightning strikes up to 280 times per hour, every night, for up to 10 hours straight, for most of the year. The Catatumbo lightning has been occurring for as long as records exist. Indigenous people use it to navigate it at night. Spanish colonial sailors charted it as a permanent lighthouse. Same patch of sky, every single night, for centuries. It went silent once. In 2010, during a severe drought, the lightning stopped for 6 weeks. Scientists Scientists call it a data point. Venezuelans call it an omen. When the rains came back, the storm came back without delay. It is the most lightning-struck location on Earth. It has been for longer than anyone alive. A storm running every night for centuries. What would finally stop it? Case 7. The day it rained blood. Not rust-colored, not brownish, not faintly pink. Red. It is stained clothes on contact, turning standing puddles the color of an open wound, and continued falling across southern India for nearly 2 months without stopping. People who stepped outside came back with tinted skin and no explanation. Scientists analyzed the samples and found organic material. Spores from a local alg somehow drawn into the upper atmosphere and carried by weather system before descending as red rain across a region the size of a country. How the spores reached that altitude remains scientifically disputed to this day. The sample is still sitting in a laboratory in Kerala. The sky turned red for 2 months. How long before you stopped being afraid to go outside? Case 8. The lights with no source. The first recorded sighting was 1883. A ranch hand spotted lights moving across the open desert and assumed they were Apache campfires. They were not. The Marfa lights appears at night on the horizon southeast of town, floating, dividing, merging, vanishing, returning, white, yellow, red. The current scientific explanation involves atmospheric refraction of car headlights of thermal layers after sunset. The problem: the lights were documented in 1883. The highway was built in 1930. A University of Texas research team confirmed in 2004 that some lights match the car theory, others do not. The unexplained lights are rare, behave differently, and appear in locations where no roads exist. No one has gotten close enough to touch one in 140 years. What would it take to make you drive out there alone at night? Case 9. The Zomer Sinus Die. 1970, a US military test rocket went off course and came down in a remote stretch of the Chihuahuan Desert in northern Mexico. The recovery team sent to retrieve it reported something unusual. Radio contact failed, compasses gave wrong readings, communication equipment stopped functioning without any mechanical explanation. The area is now called the Zona del Silencio, the zone of silence.
I think that's what makes these phenomena so creepy. It's not that science can't explain them anymore. It's that even after the explanation, they still feel completely unnatural. Like our brain understands it, but our instincts don't.